Roll, please. Roll.
Hey, Kevin Mark.
Do you like losing, Ken?
Excuse me.
Oh, you heard me.
I do not lose.
Without sponsors, Ken, you get no car. And last I checked, the professionals all have a car. You cannot win the SCCA without one. If you're not winning, you are losing.
Don't make me lamp this at your head.
Did you bring your son all the way out here to watch you get disqualified or just act like a jackass? Well, that answers that.
For me, what was always drawing me, the story of Shelby and Miles were the unique group of characters, all of whom were so opposite.
Good luck with these guys, Sean.
Ken Miles was just a very strong-minded individual, incredibly passionate about what he did, incredibly sure of himself, willing to go down in flames for his own beliefs.
His passion was that he was 100% focused on it. For example, he would walk along the grid and look at the other guys that were his competition, and he'd stand in front of the car and just stare at them. The idea was he was trying to psych them out, and he'd look at these guys until they'd look away. And then he knew he had them.
Get me out of here, Pops! Come on! All right.
He was irascible and not afraid to speak his mind and not one to just fall into step with everybody else.
Learn to drive, you pillock!
He's a very English man. He's from the Midlands. He's from a place called Sutton Coldfield. He was a military man. He served in a tank unit. He was there in, I think it was D-Day +2 or 3.
He was a tank engineer, repairing and driving tanks, even as part of the final invasion in France.
I'm never gonna get the good rides. I started too late.
Because he fought in the bloody war.
He's really difficult. He has a very hard time suffering fools.
Are you telling me I don't know how to drive my own car?
No. But if you ask me, this isn't your car. Your car's more Plymouth Studebaker.
Screw you, you limey prick.
First and foremost, I think that everybody viewed him as a mechanic. He was somebody who always enjoyed taking things apart, seeing how they worked, putting them back together.
New transmission, axles, sparks all around. Lose the body and the tires, and you got yourself a contender. Anything on this beauty that does work?
The mirrors, outstanding.
Miles had never risen quite to the levels that he could rise because his personality got in the way.
Don't get me wrong, Lenny.
Yeah.
My advice is lose the inline 6, that idiotic 3-speed, shorten the wheelbase, somehow lose half a ton, and lower the price.
Dad.
Nice suit.
Ken was always after trying to be so perfect that he matched the perfection of the vehicle itself and fulfilled the potential of the track. There must be a limit at this track, and he wanted to find the limit.
This car wants to go faster. I feel it.
Meaning, if these things are real and hard and math and physics relate to them, then I'm the only unpredictable element in relation to all these knowns. The road, the weather, the air, the car, its capabilities, its brakes.
Oh, yes! More of that, please. More of that, my girl.
Once he got in a race car, whether it was testing or racing, it was all business. There was no fiddling around, no joking, it's just strictly, we're gonna focus on what we're doing here, and until I get out of the car, that's it.
Shelby really saw his talents as a racer, and he was a real purist when it came to that. He didn't compromise in the slightest, and that was both his saving grace and his Achilles heel as well.
You're gonna want to see this. Trust me.
There's an awful lot of respect between Carol and Ken. You know, these are two men who recognize in each other this excellence in this particular sport.
I think Shelby saw Ken as a driver that might even be better than him. If he can't get behind the wheel, then he's going to help protect him so that at least he can kind of, by extension, live through Ken's experiences.
The best driver didn't always get the ride. You needed a driver who could also be diplomatic and who could get in front of the cameras and who wasn't going to say something impolitic at the wrong time. And as a result, Miles' career wasn't where it could have been.
You know, Lee here asked me a while back, what's the one thing money can't buy? I'll tell you what it is. A pure racer behind the wheel of your car. That's Ken Miles.
Well, be that as it may, we think he may be too pure.
Throughout his life, he'd shot himself in the foot many times because of his desire to never lose any battle, but through winning battles, Ken Miles often lost the war.
I haven't been able to get you to follow an order since day one. Whatever you want to do is fine with me.
My choice.
Your choice.
Ken Miles, who's unbendable and won't compromise and always seeking perfection, at the climax of the film has to actually bend and compromise. While it was a tragedy that he gave up that race, as a victory for himself anyway, it was a kind of personal victory in the sense that Ken never cooperated. In many ways, it was in the last laps of this race that he truly exceeded himself. He exceeded his own force of personality and kind of transcended his own drive to win at all costs, to slow down for the betterment of Shelby, who I'm sure was under pressure from Ford to get him to slow down and to kind of do what the team needed.
Well, I find there's a great liberation in playing, a real person. There are eccentricities and mannerisms that if you were just inventing them for yourself, you might seem like you're just being an egotistical actor. But when there are real people, you go, my God, they really did that. They really had that attitude. There it is, plain and bold. It's the truth. Well, you promised me the drive. Not the win.
I thought there was a lot of Ken in Christian. Christian's most widely known to audiences as the Batman, obviously, or Dick Cheney, darker characters, gruff characters, very often not British characters. And I think one of the revelations of the film is we get to see so much of himself as a working class kid from England, as a guy who loves motorsports, as a kind of passionate perfectionist, as a family man. All those aspects of his personal character fuse with Ken, and I think give him a chance to give audiences a taste of a really honest piece of himself.
From the moment you're on set with him, he is the person that he's playing. You're aware when you're looking at him that he's completely in it. And that means in it, in the physicality and in the voice, and that's the way that he's found works the best for him.
Oh, look at you! Oh, no, man.
That's pretty good for a Mets fan.
Just physically, he had put on 70 pounds to play Dick Cheney, and when I signed up to do it, Jim said, oh, man, he's really worried because he's got to lose all this weight, and race car drivers tend to, they want to be as light as they can. And Ken was had a very particular look. And I showed up and I saw him on the first day, and he was 170. So that's a 70-pound swing, and that takes an extraordinary amount of discipline. It was what he was doing and what he needed to do to play the role and to play it to the best of his ability.
You want some ice cream?
Yeah.
All right. Come on in.
Christian Bale is one of the nicest people I've ever met. He'll say hi to you, he'll joke around with you. He's always playing pranks and being really funny, but also he's really focused and really always in the zone, always ready to go as soon as it says action.
It's such a gift to be in a scene with an actor of that quality. Your game is raised every time you step into a scene together because he's just so present and he has such an understanding of who his character is, and it's been really, it's been quite an incredible experience.
Wait a second. What type of girl are you?
Type of girl who likes the smell of wet gasoline.
Oh.
Burnt rubber.
Oh, what are you, some kind of a deviant? Yeah.
Well, only since I married you.
He has really done his research on Ken Miles. I mean, you ask him anything and he will know about it. And I think that really is great when it comes to knowing what Ken would do in this situation or something. How's it feeling?
We're getting there. I met with Peter Miles, with Ken Miles' son, and get all of his insight as well was a real honor.
When I first met Christian, I found it interesting because he came in not as, here I am, I'm Christian Bale, but just an ordinary guy, the nicest guy on the planet, just dressed ordinary like you'd see somebody walking down the street. And he wanted to know as much as he could about my father accurately. So I provided him with photographs, articles, books, and even a voice recording so that he could try and portray the part as well as he could.
We saw the real deal. We just looked at Ken. He was actually very ahead of his time in terms of fitness and whatnot. He had been a smoker and all that, but he gave it all up. He moved to California. He was a runner. He was someone who was really into health. And we took exactly from the documentation that we saw of him.
Christian Bale wears a race suit a lot and coveralls. So it was just finding the right tone for him to still make him look good, but like the character, who might be more sloppy. And so we sort of did the fine line between making him feel like Ken Miles and also servicing the script.
He went to driving school, so he had all the shifting and steering and turning down. He was not only acting, but mimicking facial expressions of Ken Miles.
I went and I trained with Bob Bondurant, who race fans will know exactly who he is, which was an incredible time. Just the thrill of taking a car to its limit, you know, in my very inexperienced way. But that was an absolute joy, and the thrill of that is amazing. And you don't have to be that great to push to your own limits. You understand what these true gods of racing must have felt like. And that's been so enjoyable for me.
Hey, Bulldog. You're on the wrong side of the line.
Oh, man. I've got to do more of these film things.
I have found on movies that, you know, everything trickles from the top. And so when you have two people who bring it, who are happy to be patient, who wait on set, who want to figure out the scene, how to get it right, who aren't anxious to go back to their trailer or home, who want to figure it out, who everything, like their characters, what matters most is the excellence of the work.
So you're gonna build a car
to beat old man Ferrari with Ford, with a Ford.
Correct.
And how long did you tell them that you needed? 200-300 years?
90 days.